Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I want to talk to you about the left arm. The left arm, well, it's an interesting conversation because I don't think anybody really out there is considering the implications of each arm individually. Most of the help that people get is dealing with the golf club and trying to position that in the right spot. As you'll know by now, if you've watched enough of my videos, I'm all about making you understand how we need to move. The light end, the handle end, always becomes something that's lost in translation when we're moving the golf club around. And as soon as you make the head end heavier, and there's two ways you can do that, either by simply dumping weight on it or by taking another hand off. When you take another hand off, as I say, it then makes the club head more weighty. Now, when you just use the right arm, if you're a right-handed golfer and you are a right-handed individual, it sort of makes sense, right? I mean, you take the golf club, you swing it with your right hand, and you try to hit yourself a shot. That was one of my videos talking about the right arm. The left arm is now really very different. Really quite tricky, particularly if you are not, your dexterity is in your right hand and not your left hand. And the beauty with that is that because of the vulnerability of the left hand and arguably the lack of coordination, it actually makes you start to appreciate how you need to start to sense the balance up between the light end and the heavy end. Let's hit a couple of shots with the left hand. It really isn't that easy. And I actually, to be fair, I had to hit a couple of, I went to open up the video today and I hit a couple of shots and I almost air shot them. So it does take a little bit of getting used to try to hit a shot with your left hand. Let's talk about this application and why you might want to think about doing this. First of all, the top point of the lever system between the arms and the club is the left hand. Again, if you've watched enough of my videos and seen my grip series, the pad of the left hand is a real key player to applying force and pressure into the butt end of the golf club. Therefore, when we're in our setup position and I start to move the golf club away, I'm really starting to feel how my left hand can push down, which really gets the club head very much in this orientation. As soon as I start to move the handle out this way, and this normally is the remedy, moving the golf club over here to make the head not come back in. When you take your right hand off and you start to do that with your left arm, you really get to appreciate why the club head would swing even more inside relative to the handle. Making the left shoulder push on the left hand as you make your right hip turn back really gives a good sensation of how pushing down levers the golf club up. Now we've got that golf club swinging at the top. Because the right hand is no longer on the club, as I start to reach the top of the backswing, this left forearm has two options. It either fights the weight or it allows the weight to pull the left arm into internal rotation to the right. Doesn't mean it's opening the face, it simply means it's changing the pitch of the shaft. And as soon as you start to allow that club head to change the pitch of the shaft and you start to pull the handle forwards, you really get to appreciate how you can, good shot there Stuart, you really get to appreciate the balance up of the heavy end and the light end. Pressure down with the left hand, which pitches the club head up. Now at the top, the heavy end is really pulling my forearm into rotation. Well, if the club shaft is laying down, the last place I would want to pull that club is down here, which is where a lot of the instruction is out there, making your arms come down. Well, if I've now got a shallow shaft and an arm plane that's inside, that's going to be really quite tricky not to take out my right ankle. Going up, allowing that club shaft to feel like it lays down, now allows me to create that force and pressure down on the handle to get it to all line up. This left arm coordinated well. You can see just on that little chip shot I just did there, it's 2 degrees down from the inside at 2.2, face was closed 2.8, and it was close to path at 5 degrees, so I'd hit myself a little right to left bender. Again, the labeling of whether it's a push draw, pull draw, straight draw, whatever, not interested. It's all coach jargon, it's rubbish. We're only interested in seeing the ball bend left. Your ability as a golfer to control that bend left will ultimately define where you aim. Get away from this labeling of shape. Going back up to the top again then, pressure down, makes the club head feel like it's a bit more over here. Now, if you're doing this with a left hand that's weak and I put the club back in the palm of the hand, all of a sudden I've lost that opportunity to push down. Because the left hand is out of orientation and is arguably weak, it would then start to change the way the face angle would look. So now all of a sudden when I start to work it down, look how the face is open. Now even if I start to make that handle pressure come down, you can see how that ball suddenly pops out to the right. So I can't move the handle in a way that I want to, because if I did that, the ball would go right. I've still struck down at 8.6. The path still approached from the inside, doing exactly the same motion as I was doing on the shot before, but look how the face is open to the path. It's 12.3 degrees open to the path. If I did that for very long, and as a golfer, you normally only have one shot to try to apply something. If it doesn't work, the brain starts to go, oh, I'm not sure that will work. So all of a sudden, I keep my left hand grip on that's weak, and then I go to the top. Now all of a sudden, I'm going to start to try to get the club head swinging over to try and get that ball. That was awfully close to the Swiss ball there. You're going to try and get that club face squaring up, which then suddenly means that you're starting to argue with the lever system of the head weight trying to swing down at the bottom. If you've not seen my recent release pattern drill, that's one to check out as well. The left arm is the force down through strike, is the pressure point, along with the right hand as well, but it's a key player because the more you allow that left arm to pressure down, it really starts to get that face to still unload, but it has the chance of stabilizing and unloading with loft. The more that left arm lifts up, you can see how the loft turns down. Therefore, the pressure in the left hand really gives the golfer the opportunity to keep the face in a pretty decent orientation. But the left arm has to be submissive. It has to be submissive in change of direction. When it goes up to the top, you've got to feel how that club is going to be submissive. The forearm's submissive, should I say, over the head weight. Now I can move around. Now I can push down, and now all of a sudden it all starts to line back up at the bottom. There's some thoughts on how you want to maybe think about feeling the left arm. It's a really interesting journey, that one. It takes a little bit of time. You want to reduce the speed of the motion that you're trying to make, because if you do it too fast, I promise you, you'll miss it every time. And if you really want to amp it up, grab it with 2 golf clubs. Make sure you've got no shoulder injuries, because it does put an excessive load on the shoulder, which is a good thing because you start to feel how the shoulder needs to work. And if you increase the weight of the club by gripping 2 clubs or put one of those swing weights on the end of the club, it'll really give you a heightened sense of awareness. I hope you found that useful. It's really interesting doing these right arm and left arms drills. It certainly gives you some great insight. I think you'll agree that's good coaching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.